Tokyo sanctions aimed at punishing the North Korean regime are hampering the ability of aid groups to operate inside the country, triggering warnings that the international campaign is harming ordinary North Koreans. Difficulties in obtaining supplies, including medical equipment, and in transferring money to fund aid programs could have a direct impact on health and nutrition levels throughout North Korea, they say. We need to deal with the nuclear problem, but we need to properly ponder our means for achieving that goal, Tomás Ochoa Quintana, the UN's Special Rapporteur on North Korean human rights, said in an interview in Tokyo. About 70% of the North Korean population is already categorized as food insecure, meaning constantly struggling against hunger, and 1 in 4 children's growth is stunted. The sanctions could increase the levels of food insecurity and the incidence of acute malnutrition among children. These are not just statistics. This is reality in the DPRK, Quintana said, using the abbreviation for North Korea's official name. It's my responsibility to remind the Security Council that they should develop a comprehensive assessment of the possible impact of their sanctions. What is the concrete impact on humanitarian agencies working inside North Korea? The UN's World Food Programme, UNICEF, the World Health Organization, and the UN Development Programme all have operations in North Korea. A small number of American and other humanitarian agencies provide food, medical and agricultural assistance from bases outside the country. But the waves of multilateral and direct American sanctions that have been imposed on Kim Jong-un's regime following its missile launches and nuclear tests have now made operations so difficult that some agencies are pulling out. Save the Children has shut down its operations in Pyongyang, billing the move as a temporary suspension. U.S. and international humanitarian NGOs working in North Korea are experiencing death by 1,000 cuts, said Keith Lewis, executive director of the Washington-based National Committee on North Korea, which includes many humanitarian agencies among its members. These sanctions were not intended for them, but they have ended up being victims of the international sanctions regime, Liu said. Trump pledges new wave of major sanctions on North Korea after call with China's Xi. The difficulties have mounted as the crackdown has broadened from smart sanctions designed to cut off parts and funding for the nuclear weapons program to more general measures that are starting to look like a trade embargo. President Trump has vowed to use maximum pressure to persuade North Korea to give up its nuclear weapons program. Sanctions imposed in September through the UN Security Council, at the United States' instigation, banned North Korean exports of seafood, garments, and coal, adding to previous prohibitions on commodities. Japan, which holds the rotating presidency of the Security Council, is urging other member states to cut off humanitarian aid to North Korea. The campaign is having a tangible impact.